All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel and another video on SoccerMom, where Will and I are gonna try and get the motor back together today and hopefully back down in the car. It's Sunday morning, fairly early, you can tell by the daylight, but been thinking more about, getting that all generation of Camaro picture together. We need us a really good 4th gen, and I've got a couple of ideas of some people that we could ask, see if we can do that. But there's also the 5th gen option, which we'll need. And this Will's neighbor, right there. Yeah, that's a ZL1. So that would be a good addition for the 5th gen content. And it's blue. We've got blue, black, blue for that one. So we need us either a black, maybe a silver 4th gen. It'd be a pretty epic picture. A bunch of hot rodded up Camaros of all generations. I think we gotta make that happen. But for now, it's time to go work on SoccerMom. Morning, Will.
Morning.
Time to work on a race car. Oh, I gotta go turn the radio off, but we're gonna see if we can get old SoccerMom back together. Oh, Will's already got the radio. I think I talked enough that I won't get copyrighted.
That's an old song.
Oh, that don't matter.
It don't?
No. Whoever owns that song wants the
So what, people just sit
wants
around
any
and
kind of
watch
money for
videos
it.
looking for
No, it's all done with computers. AI.
good old AI.
They search the videos, and if there's
AI.
any copyrighted content in it, they take any money that's generated by your ad revenue. A little information for you guys that are wondering about this YouTube stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna get on my backpack, see what we can do, and get ready to go to work. That's an interesting shift pattern on the shifter. What happens if you just leave it on the limiter? Oh no, he goes through the gears if you don't shift. Cute toy, Will.
Yeah, don't remember who bought that for me, but I've had it a long time. Used to have it in the house, but I'd play with it every once in a while and Chris would get mad. So it ended up out here.
Boys and their toys. All right, let's put this Texas Speed 388 back together. Will got a Texas Speed shirt on today.
Yes.
Then we're gonna go real fast next time we go out with this thing, or at least faster, because we're gonna put the lightweight stuff on SoccerMom and tickle a little bit of timing out of it, just so don't do this again. Retorque the cylinder heads before we even take it to the racetrack, which that part isn't gonna be fun, but I'm sure we'll bring you a video about it, because it's literally, you have to take the intake off, being that there are head bolt holes in the lifter valleys. And unfortunately, it's just a part of trying to go fast. So, put us to a time lapse and we're gonna get to work. Stop playing with the camera. All right, well, first order of business today, figured I'd at least do a little bit of a voiceover of this first time lapse, and you can kind of see us put number 8 piston back in. We took it out, inspected it. Everything looked great. Rod bearing looked great. Wanted to just verify that before we stuck it all back together. Decided to measure rod side clearance while we had it apart, just because, like to measure things while I've got it apart and see how Texas Speed does it when they build their engines. And you might have seen me squirting some oil on all the rods. I'm a believer that when you're building an engine, you can't really put too much oil in it, like when you just kind of pre-lube it with stuff. I also squirted some oil into the bottom of the oil pump while it was upside down, just because you get some fresh oil in there, and as the oil pump is moving, it draws the oil in and kind of seals it up so that it sucks the oil out of the oil pan better. And the LS already has a pretty long pickup tube for the oil filter, so for the oil pump pickup that goes from the the bottom of the pan up to the oil pump. So we try and anytime we can to make sure that we do whatever we can do to help with the oiling process. So right now we're starting to put the saw my silly face there waving at the time lapse. But we're putting the studs on, the short studs, and we realize we have way too many of them because we had 2 sets of head studs that ended up getting mixed. And then of course we realized that I put the wrong ones in the bottom of the cylinder heads. That's just how it goes. But I'm the bolt sorting guy for this part of the video, making sure we get everything sorted to figure out what goes where, kind of see us doing some thinking. But let me know in the comments if you guys like the voiceover versus just the music. Just letting the music play does save me a lot of time in editing, but I try to do my best to bring you guys what you want. All right, well, we're making some progress, torquing the heads on, and we're both dreading the inside ones, but we'll get there. I did forget to show you guys our new Mickey Thompson front runners.
You said 85, right?
50, 85, 105. Yeah, let's do that. I don't know what the X means. Hopefully that's maybe Kimber. Actually, he probably put that on there when he balanced it. So, yeah, some brand new front runners, and I really like this style tread for the front runners. Like in years past, we had a really heavy street tire that we ran, skinny but really heavy street tire, and those are much lighter, and we can leave them on our cool Mickey Thompson wheels, which, man, do I wish they still made those, because that's a good looking wheel. And then saying Mickey Thompson wheels on the back. But I guess I'm gonna stop avoiding the inevitable and start putting the studs on the nuts on the bottom of the head. Okay, can't let Will do all the work. right, well, like you saw in the time lapse, the engine is all the way together. And you might have noticed it's a little bit of a fight to get these intake bolts down in there. But that's just part of it. I do like the big plenum of the Texas Speed intake manifold, and I think that's probably the biggest difference between this engine and the first 388 that we had from them. You know, aside from the rod and piston being better. But I think maybe the Holley intake was maybe somewhat of a restriction, at least for this bigger engine than our 5.3 was. So that's why this engine makes so much more power on lower boost, because she was running every bit as good as the first Texas Speed engine that we had on only 26 pounds of boost, where the first engine we were what, 34, 35? Like we were leaning on it a little bit. So
the same number, which is very interesting to me.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think it's like, I know the Holley intake with its stock ports down here was much smaller than the port of the head, but we didn't have time to port the intake manifold, so we didn't. But it's just kind of the way this thing goes sometimes. So don't tell NASCAR we're watching, and I put a clip of the NASCAR race in my YouTube video. Don't tell NASCAR. And they've already copyright claimed me once, but I won. Yeah.
It's all good till it isn't.
Silly AI confusing our Dodge Viper with a NASCAR Cup car. Anywho, let's what do you say we drop this thing in there, Willie?
I'm ready.
Will got the picker set up. It's like a really, really nice day outside, except for there's not a lot of sun. But, you know, it's the temperature is absolutely awesome. And Will's nice little quiet backyard. No squirrels today, though. Haven't seen a squirrel. Anyways, we'll stop yapping. Let's put this thing in. So at this point of the day, we're not really thinking that we're going to put it in and get it cranked up, because, yeah, there's always little things that you run into when you're putting the engine back in. The headers don't fit quite right with the hot side of the turbo system. Things don't quite line up. You can't find a bolt somewhere, etc., etc., etc. But we get this thing put in and completely buttoned up in like an hour and a half. And as soon as this time lapse is over, we're going to try and fire it up. And it's sometimes things just, they go really, really good. And I mean, we really try and build cars in a way that they can be serviced as easily as possible. And, you know, sometimes with some cars that maybe be sacrificing some creature comforts. But for the most part, especially the race car stuff, we really try and make it serviceable as much as possible, because you just never know when you're going to be working on it. It's one of the reasons why I like the coils on the valve cover in an LS, and specifically the Motion Raceworks valve covers, or the Motion Raceworks brackets for stock valve covers, because with their brackets, you can still remove the valve covers with the coils attached to the valve covers. I think some of the billet ones are like that, but I'm cheap, and we just haven't spent the money for those awesome looking billet Motion Raceworks valve covers, but, you know, maybe one day. But we're cranking right along on this thing, and I mean, it's just the bags of bolts, everything's perfect. We bagged everything up when we took it out, or actually Will did, and we just cranked this thing out in really, really short order. So stay tuned for just a little bit more to see what happens when we crank things up and it doesn't exactly go to plan. So stay tuned for that. Well, we couldn't finish it up without Eddie coming over.
They just needed me here to supervise.
Thanks for bringing an oil filter.
You're welcome.
Saved us a trip.
That's the perks of letting me use your shop.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so we are live with the computer. We unplugged the coils so that we don't nuke any of them, because if you guys don't know this, if you're ever turning your engine over and you don't have your spark plug wires hooked up, it'll nuke some coils. Right, Will?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we did that a couple times.
Fun fact at Sick Week.
Yeah. All right, battery says 16, so that's good. Oh, 16.1. So everything should be good to prime and see if we make some oil pressure. Yes?
Yes.
All right, let's look for oil pressure.
Let's see what happens.
Come on, oil pressure! Oh, come on. There it is. 54.
Perfect.
All right, well, that's that.
Put some plugs in it.
Chuck some spark plugs. We'll chuck some spark plugs in it.
Plugs in it and see if she'll
Plug the
fire
coils back in and see if it cranks. You gonna crank?
Oh yeah, because I'm here.
Actually, I'm gonna leave
glad
it.
you're here then.
I'm gonna leave this recording in real time.
I'm glad you're here then.
Because you guys want to take this off to put the belt on?
No. I have to, when we torque the
We're going to retort the heads after we got heat cycle.
We gotta take the intake off. 'Cause we're gonna be responsible and retort the heads.
I didn't know you guys did that.
Well, apparently we didn't last time.
We have skipped that. We skipped
Oh.
thing, and it has caused us some issues in the past.
Ah. Well, I'm just gonna plug the thing then.
Yeah, remember, it ain't got much water in it, or it has no water in it. So.
No water. Because somebody done blowed up the expansion tank.
Who would do that?
Not mentioning any names, Kevin.
All right. Coils plugged back in. I think she's ready to crank. All right, fire in the hole.
Plug the injectors back in?
We did not.
Plug the coils back in?
I did.
What would y'all do if I wasn't here?
Run the battery dead.
Yeah.
It's literally 3 inches from my hand. All right, now let's try it when the ejector's plugged in. Actually, shouldn't even need to touch that. Remember that pop we heard? That is the push rod wasn't in.
Which one's off?
Number 1. Mm-hmm. Dang it.
Aww.
Dang it. Kevin made a boo-boo.
Kevin makes a lot of boo-boos.
Hey.
A lot of head gasket shaped boo-boos.
That happens.
Yeah.
Win as a team, lose as a team.
With 8. All right, so I'm going to break in here with a voiceover and kind of explain what happened, what we think happened, where things kind of went sideways here. And when we were putting the push rods in, we installed 2 checker push rods on the number 1 cylinder to check that we still had proper lifter preload, since we had the head gas, or the surface of the heads skimmed, and I think they took about 0.005 of an inch off of the cylinder heads. Well, with the Johnson lifters, the preload setting on the lifters is very specific. It is supposed to be, I think, 30 thousandths plus or minus 5 thousandths. So 25 to 35 thousandths of preload on the lifter itself. So anyways, we were checking that, verified that our push rod length and our lifter preload was still good, and it was. And we put the rest of the push rods in and pulled out one of the checker push rods. And I put the valve covers on right before we rolled the engine to the front of the car, which was actually the camera had gone dead and it wasn't recording. So right before we pushed the motor over to put it in the car, we saw the last remaining push rod sitting on the bench. We're like, uh-oh. Well, we know where that goes. So I'm pointing at the push rod pointing at the rocker right now, thinking that's probably the one that's loose, and it's kind of hard to tell to get the push rod down in the lifter through the hole in the cylinder head. So, it is what it is. Missed it, and there's the potential of getting the push rod kind of on the edge of the lifter, like in one of the steps, and then that will actually hold the valve open quite a bit, and then you run the risk of bending the valve. Which, did we do that? Is SoccerMom okay? Well, you're about to find out. It's got a weak hole. Doesn't it?
Yeah, and it didn't sound like that when you first spun it over.
Son of a biscuit. I just bent a freaking exhaust valve. Got a spark plug tool.
Actually, when you first spun it over, it didn't have plugs in it, so maybe it was hard to tell.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't hear it because it wouldn't have compression. So.
Yeah. But it could have hit a valve on piston
If it hung it open.
Yep.
Is it dead?
It's weak. Gosh dang it, Kevin.
Do you want to put a compression tester on it just to make sure?
Oh, it's weak.
Oh, you can feel
We
it.
can, sure. You can put, yeah, big pressure tester on. Just for giggles.
Kevin said I got a built-in compression tester in my finger. I mean, before you go pulling the head off. But I guess if it didn't blow your finger off the hole, then you...
Yeah, it was like, it was very light. You hear that one?
Oh, yeah. Yep. That one...
What the heck? That was one. Okay, maybe it's not her. Give me the compression tester. I didn't really stick my finger all the way in there the first time, and I was like,
that's your problem.
Oh, it's broke.
You gotta stick your finger all the way in there.
$180.
What it usually is.
Yeah.
I'm taking credit for that. For you not having to pull the head off. Because I know you would have gone straight into pulling that head off.
Maybe. All right, we're all back together. Try her again.
We had a oil pressure though, right?
Yeah. Lots. enough. So we'll do that a couple more times. We need to, let's see, we need a coolant temp sensor plug because we broke one putting it back on. Whoops. So we'll plug that, fill it up with water, heat cycle it fully all the way up to like 215, 220 degrees, get it nice and hot. Maybe do that a couple times. What?
Expansion tank.
Build an expansion tank. Yes, we have to do that.
We'll let Ricky weld it.
Do we want to load it and take it to the shop to do that?
Okay.
Just drive
Not
it.
today, but-
Be another heat cycle. Like drive it in the trailer.
drive it?
Like
Oh, drive.
we can put the alternator back on it to drive it in the trailer, and then
Yeah.
that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Appreciate everybody watching, subscribing, following along. Soccer Mom's back. Should we put the lightweight stuff on it? I think we should.
Quest for 6s.
Let me know in the comments. Ooh, 6s.
Yes. $6.99 or wall mod.
Wall mod. No. See you guys next time.